How's it going, everyone? I'm the one and only 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿. Welcome back to a new video. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Curses Manifesto, taking a look at the changes that GGG has made and decided to make to curses and hexes, or whatever they're calling them now. But overall, they're curses. It's all the curses. They're just making some changes to them. And yeah, so I'm just going to go through a brief, quick little rundown. I'll break down their TLDR as fast as possible, and then I'll go through a detailed breakdown one by one and give my thoughts on each of the sections and just tell you what I think about it. I have already skimmed over this a little bit, so I won't really be giving a first-time reactions, but yeah. So if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. I'd really appreciate it. Help the channel grow before 3.20 comes out. We've got the reveal live stream coming up real soon, so I think that's coming this week. I believe it's on the 1st, so yeah, look out for that. I'll do some kind of video or live stream or something for that, so yeah. Yeah, without further ado, let's dive in. I'm going to go ahead and do the TLDR breakdown of it. Basically, the one sentence is they have, essentially, they removed the penalties of curses against higher end monsters. So rares and unique monsters, unique bosses no longer have those negative penalties that, if you know anything about curses, and if you've ever used Path of Building, you know that on the back end, unique bosses like Uber bosses, map bosses, have minus 66% effect. And rares have minus 33% effect of curses, just implicitly given to them behind the scenes. They have just straight up removed that. That no longer exists. They've gotten rid of it. So now your curses will apply to unique bosses just like they will a white mob. As a result of that, they have to remove a lot of curse effect and things like that, because essentially you just gained plus 33% curse effect against rares and 66% curse effectiveness against unique bosses, in-game bosses, and Uber bosses. There you go. They have also, as you can see here, they removed the Doom mechanic, which was their attempt at making pure curse casting builds worthwhile, and it didn't really pan out. So they're removing it. They are going to be changing the occultist ascendancy somewhat and shifting a lot of the stuff around. As I said, they're removing a lot of curse effectiveness from the tree. So I think they removed it from occultist and from this passive tree as well, somewhat. They may not have removed all sources of it, but a lot of it is going away. Because, again, you just gained like 33 and 66% respectively, so they have buffed temp chains and enfeeble as a result, because they are, you know, they're less impactful as a result of these changes, but still very strong. And then some of the less accessible sources of curse effect have been removed. This also acts as a nerf to hex support. So hex support builds. So essentially, basically all of that. We rebalanced a bunch of hex-related unique items and added some powerful new unique items, and hex gems have been rebalanced with the goal of ensuring that self-cast curses remain relevant as opposed to automatic curse application. All of that to say, curse bots have lost a lot of their, just the pure curse stacking bots. Like a lot of, they'll talk about it in more detail. If you want to, you can pay attention in like a couple minutes. But curse stacking bots, curse supports, as they put it, are losing a lot of their power. But for the people who just want to splash one or two curses into their build, you're gaining a lot of power here. Just like with no investment, you can slap a curse on something and it will do a lot of extra damage or utility, etc., etc. And yeah, I mean that's the TLDR. So yeah, if that's what you were here for, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like on your way out. I appreciate it. And now we're going to dive into talking about these things in a little more detail. So let's go section by section. Hex strength against different monster tiers. So previously, here's what I talked about: 33% for rare, 66% for pinnacle bosses, and some amount in between for each of these. Now we have removed both of these penalties so that hexes will consistently be effective against all monsters in the game. your hexes, if you use flammability on something in a fire build or an ignite build, you will hit a unique pinnacle boss the same as you will a white mob. They will lose that, I think it's 40% minus fire res. I think that's just the number off the top of my head. I know it's at least in the 30s. But they lose a massive, massive amount of fire res. And if you don't know how resistances work, just to give you a quick, just the quick version of it, your resistance is literally like a percent of the damage is cut off the top. After the calculation of a damage hitting you, if you have 75% cold res, 75% of that damage is just deleted. You only are taking a quarter damage of the hits that a monster is hitting you. It is the same way for bosses. Bosses have, I think pinnacle bosses have like slightly higher res, but I think they might, even if, let's say they have 90, right? They have 90% res. If you cut that by 35%, that monster is now taking 35%, like it's more than just a more multiplier. They are no longer getting resistance to your damage type. So that's why curse effect is such a big deal in this instance, where they're no longer getting a penalty applied by 66%, meaning you were basically cutting a boss's res by like 10%, maybe. With a negative 66% effectiveness on your curses, with those res cutting curses, you were maybe getting like a 10% increased damage taken by the monster. Now you're getting like 35%, so this is a big buff. But as a result, they'll get there in a second. I'll wait a second. But yeah, the Doom mechanic has been removed. It was, like I said, if you don't know what Doom is, it's literally there's a thing that you can do where it's like Hex Blast and applying the Doom mechanic. If you look at a curse right now in Lake of Kalandra, it will say, if you self-cast this, apply 10 to 15 Doom stacks. And the more Doom stacks up to a certain maximum does extra damage when you detonate it with Hex Blast or one of those other like Doom things. Again, they were really trying to emphasize self-casting a curse, but it really didn't pan out. It really didn't land like they wanted it to, so they're just removing it. And they're going to be rebalancing a lot of things and some other things. Impending Doom has also had its base damage roughly doubled to compensate for this loss. Huh. Okay, so they're still keeping Impending Doom and Hex Blast and some stuff in the game. We'll have to see what those changes look like. And now we get to some interesting stuff. They have a couple of uniques. So, Anathema, I think, already existed, but it just wasn't a great... it wasn't a great thing, but like now this is really, really interesting. It's mostly that last line. Your curse limit is equal to your maximum power charges. So just by putting on the ring, they even say it below here, you can apply 3 curses just by putting on the ring. Basically, curse bots can now literally just go occultist, wear this one ring, and stack a few power charges, and you can apply as many curses as you want, basically. If you want to apply, 6 curses, you can get plus 3 power charges now and wear this ring, and you can get even more on your gear and stuff and put like 7, 8 power charges. So you're still getting the benefit of the power charge stacking stuff from occultist, and you even have a charge generator because 16% chance to gain a power charge when you cast a curse spell. You have charge generation, as well as your curse limit is equal to your maximum number of power charges. Great. That is such a cool item. I like this. It's really simple. It's effective. I wish it had life on it, but it doesn't. And if it did, it would be insane. This is probably still going to be I hope this is a good item. Like I tend to either completely hit my estimates. This seems like it's going to be a divine worthy item, but it depends where it comes from, I guess. We'll have to wait and see. Heretic's Veil. So +2 to socketed curse gems. Socketed gems are supported by level 22 blasphemy, 30% increased reservation efficiency, and then ES evasion and maximum ES. So good item. Reservation efficiency has been buffed from 20 to 30, and the socketed has been +1 to +2. So they basically just buffed this item. Interesting. Still probably not going to be particularly useful, given that it's in the, super competitive helmet slot. And, I don't know. Maybe there's some edge cases I don't know about. But yeah. So here we go. Here's down to the part where I haven't read super closely, but ensuring self-cast is powerful. In most cases, systems that facilitate somewhat automated gameplay, like Hex Touch, applying hexes automatically, should either come at a much higher cost or be less effective. In some cases, both are needed to counterbalance the significant upside of automation. Otherwise, the option to automate will always be the obvious choice and eclipse other more interactive gameplay styles. Doom Mechanic was aimed at fulfilling the function of hexes and is being replaced with alternative, simpler solutions. We've added both blasphemy and hex touch supports, which grant less. We've added penalties to both blasphemy and hex touch supports, which grant less curse effect at all gem levels. Additionally, item mods that inflict specific hex no longer do so with increased effect. Okay. This includes items where the hex is meant to be a downside on the player, such as Coward's Chains and Coward's Legacy Soul Mantle. Okay. We'll have to wait and see full patch notes, see on the reveal and stuff to see what that's going to be. They're going to make some stuff to make self-casting curses powerful. We'll see if it works. I'm still going to automate. I always do. Given the option, I mean, and I say automate, I tend to put it on a, what do they call it? One of those like, Wave of Conviction, one of the res reducing ones. I tend to put a curse on one of those that can also apply a hit, something like Frost Bomb. I'm just totally drawing a blank on what the term for that is. That like -25 res that they apply is separate from a curse. So if you hit something with that, then there you go. But yeah, hex skill gem scaling. Different hex types are not evenly balanced when applied via hex on hit modifiers. Some hexes like Vulnerability and Despair are much more powerful than others. This is because hex on hit modifiers apply an equivalent to the level 1 version of the hex skill gem. Some hexes are very strong at level 1 relative to their level 20 power. This means that in some cases using hex on hit is too powerful alongside. We are stabilizing gem scaling rates of hex. In general, they should be twice as powerful at gem level 20 than they are at gem level 1. Well, there you go. There you go. So, I mean, those are going to be stronger. They'll probably still have to apply at like level 1. They're probably going to consistize, whatever the bottom end, but raising the top end. So use a level 20 gem. There you go. Scaling curse effect. We feel that there are currently too many sources of curse effect. It's created a large power gap between players that have no investment in curses and those with heavy investment, which has continually caused us to have the baseline effect of curses be lower than we'd like. We are regulating the number of sources of curse effect throughout the game. This will also rein in the power of players building curse bots, curse support characters. These changes will be focused on less accessible sources of curse effect, such as Eldritch Implicits on helmets, rather than passive trees. Okay. Whatever enemies cause ignites. Wait. For example, one that used to grant flammability effect now grants flammability hex to apply hex-proof enemies and causes your ignites on cursed enemies to deal damage faster. Okay, so there's a new curse effect notable on the cluster jewels. Okay, so there's going to be a few of those. That's really cool. I'll have to wait and see what all of those are. I'm sure they'll have them in the patch notes, but yeah, we'll see. Okay, occultist ascendancy removed 15% increased effective curses, and enemies you curse have malediction stats from the malediction notable. Oh, they removed both. Your hexes can apply to hex-proof enemies has been moved from Profane Bloom to the malediction notable. We'll be renaming the notable passive as it no longer causes you to apply malediction to enemies you curse. due to significant increase in power of hexes against tougher enemies. So the effects of this notable are still very strong, as the removal of the hex penalty cannot be understated. This massive buff to hexes applies to occultists because they have access to more hexes than other ascendancies. The curse effect, removed from the notable, previously known as malediction, has been moved to the passive tree, where it's available for everyone. Stop doing this. This is important because while the occultist is still the strongest overall ascendancy for someone who wants to specialize in applying hexes, it is not mandatory for someone who merely wants to apply really strong hexes. I really don't like that they keep doing this. I don't like it when they take stuff off of an ascendancy and then put it onto the skill tree without replacing it with anything. They said they're going to replace it with something, but the last time they said this, they replaced Trickster, something good with the rotating 40% less damage over time, rotating buff. And I want them to stop doing it. Ghost Shrouds. They took Ghost Shrouds off the Trickster as well, put it on the tree for everyone to use, and oh my gosh. Yeah, whatever. It's fine. We'll see. I'll reserve my judgment on that. I do not like that change. Everything else I'm fine with. It makes sense because you're getting a 66% buff against Uber bosses, so they can't just let you have a bunch of curse effect for free. Temp chains and enfeeble, strong while being effective. For example, a level 20 was currently reducing speed by 4%. You can get more than twice as much XP reduction using any skill that chills. This is another case of hexes being weakest where they most matter. Because of the curse effect changes in the enfeeble, they want them to be a strong defensive option. We're planning to increase the cursed, rare, and unique enemies have less action speed on temp chains, as well as increasing less damage on enfeeble. Okay, so they haven't said how much, because obviously they probably want to test play it a little bit more, but we'll have to wait and see. Vuln and Despair, working on updates outlined above. We took the opportunity to make some stat changes to Vulnerability and Despair to make those gems cleaner. Yada, yada, yada. Making enemies vulnerable to Fizz and Chaos in ways that are generically more useful for any build, primarily dealing Fizz and Chaos. We will confirm the specifics of these changes in the 3.20 patch notes. Hex Blast has had its skill mechanic and damage adjusted to account for the loss of Doom. Broadly speaking, it does less damage at the very top end of gameplay, but getting it to a fairly decent level of damage is far easier than before. It now removes a random hex from an enemy and will deal more damage with hits and ailments if a hex was removed in this way. This damage is also more consistent because you no longer need to wait for Doom to stack up. Yeah, there you go. Okay. And whatever. Conclusion, they are making it easier to apply hexes to tough enemies. They're making it simpler and stronger to apply a single hex. If you want to automate it. I'm still going to be doing it. I'm going to use that, and it's going to be really good. I highly recommend you check out some curse stuff. Hell, it might even be worth your time to do an occultist Bane League start or something. That's really strong, by the way. I've done it 3.18. Really strong. So yeah, I mean, that's all I've got to say on this. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comments below. Let me know what your favorite change is and what your least favorite change is about this curse manifesto. And I'd love to hear from you. If I like your comment, I'll give it a heart. Once again, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like if you're new here. I'm really trying to grow the channel as much as possible before 3.20 comes out. I'm going to be making gameplay videos. I'm going to be making build guides, build journals and stuff, giving you all kinds of creative ideas and hopefully some highlights and stuff of like my best drops and things. I'm going to actually start trying to make some videos when 3.20 comes out. I just haven't felt like playing Lake of Kalandra, if I'm being totally honest with you. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. I hope you all enjoy. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you for a new video tomorrow.